Okay, hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Mr. Mohammed Marani. We're here today to solve the exam of May June 2025, paper 32, and we're done already with the website. So today we're going to make the spreadsheet. And let's scroll down, and the evidence document, we already did it on the last video with the web page. You scroll down directly to task 2, the spreadsheet, and the question here asks about open the examine this file. So always when this examiner says open and examine, that means I'm going to check my file first. So your file is on the supporting files here, so you're going to open it, double click, and the file is going to open this way. And to examine it, just make sure that you highlight it here and you make double click to show all the columns and the rows are fully visible here. Now the question asks about place in the header the text test perform on, then followed by space, then automated date and space, then text add space, and then automated time. So these things should be done into the header. So open your file, go to file and print and page setup, and here we have header and footer. Go to custom header. Let's go back to see what exactly we need to put in the header. So in the header we need the text test perform on. So I'm gonna write text perform on here, then followed by space and automated date. So space, then automated date, and then space and add, and then we're gonna make a space, add, and followed by automated time. So space and we're gonna put the time. So now we're done with everything here on the header. Now you're gonna go to place left align in the footer, the test it by, then followed by space, then your name, center number, and candidate number. So you're gonna go to OK and custom footer. On the left, the text tests by, you're gonna write tests by the two lots, then followed by space, your name, center number, and candidate number. So space, your name, center number, and candidate number as example. And now you're going to save the spreadsheet with this name. So OK, and we can see that the test and the details that he asked about it on the header and footer. Then we want to save the spreadsheet, the file, save it as a spreadsheet, and the name we needed is field data as one word, followed by your center number, then candidate number. So center number and candidate number. Here you give me an example. So this one, so you're going to click on save as. Inside your folder is very important. Everything should be saved inside the same folder. Then here you're going to write the name, field data, then center number and candidate number. So it's going to be a center number like EG01 and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And very important to change this one to Excel workbook, because here he said save it as a spreadsheet. So So save. And now we're done with this question. Now we come to question 2, the formatting. And it's very important that you do the formatting exactly the examiner asks for. So in question 2, he said merge cell A1 to F1. So you're gonna go here. This is A1 to F1, merged, and format this merge cells to have a black 40 points serif font with yellow background. So the font should be 40. So we can make 40 directly, and it has yellow background and a serif font, which is Times New Roman, and it's supposed to look like this. So let's make it a little bit down here, and center align, vertical and horizontal, and also it has a wrap texting. Okay, then after we're done with this, so we want to merge the cells A3, B3, A11 to B11. So we're done with A3, so this is A3 up to B3, gonna merge it, and B11 up to A11 up to B11, also merge it. So these are the two merges, and we want to format it light gray background. So we're gonna give it light gray background. You can select both of them, and we give it light gray background here. You can see more gray. And they should look like this as well. So ensure that this one looks like this. Okay. And here you can see the grid lines appear. So you're going to show the grid lines here. As well as here. And here we have the test data mixes. So we can make this one a little bit here. So it's supposed to be this way. So it should look like this, okay? And format row 1 to 18 spreadsheet to look like this. So already we're done. And here we can see also we have some formatting for row 17. Row 17 here should appear as center both, and we have wind and adjust and wind acceptable. It's supposed to be into most of them. They should supposed to be wrap texting. This one as well. And all of them here a little bit bigger, little bit. Supposed to appear all. And all of them, they are center. Make sure that row 19 to 27 are formatted the same of 18. So it's supposed to be center as well, from here all the way to here. It's supposed to be center, both horizontal and vertical. these are right aligned. Perfect. So let's have a final look. So here, so I should go a little bit adjust it like this. And perfect. So we can see that the same formatting we have it here, and the formatting you have to take care about because it's always with high marks. So there are 8 marks you guaranteed with your formatting. Now we're done with question 2. Let's go to question 3 here. Create using the cells D18, D77, name a range of t time. So where is D18? So this is D18 all the way to D77. So I'm going to give it a name, range as t time. So to rename it as t time, highlight, right click, define name, and here we're going to give it the name, which is t time, and then okay. We can see that actually the name is going to appear here. So place in the evidence document screenshot showing the name range. So to prove it, simply we can go to formula and name range. You can see it here. You can simply just edit it, and we take a screenshot for this one. And you put it in your evidence document. So as I said that the question here is question 3. So you're going to take it to our evidence document here, like question 3, evidence, and we paste it here, and then save, and we're done with question 3. So in question 4, place in cell B4 a formula to display the fastest time using the name range. So this is B4, and we're going to use the name range, which is this area, which we rename it. We're going to find the fastest time, and the fastest test here, it means the first person who arrived as in the test time, and the fastest time, it will be the fastest test time will be simply the least taken time here, the least taken time here, and the least taken time, it means the first person who arrived with the test time. So since we want the least, so here we're going to use the min function. It's very important to understand this one. So we want the first person who arrived. So the first person who arrived is going to be the least taken has been taken to arrive. So here we're going to use the min, which is going to be equal sign and min, and here we can use the formula arguments. So you're going to put the range, and then okay, and we can see this is the least time has been taken from here. So this is the first person who arrived here. So this is the least time has been taken from here. Then we're going to go to the second question. It said place in cell B5 a formula to display the lowest test time. And the lowest test time, it means the person who arrived late. Okay, the maximum time here. So the person who came last one, this is the maximum time, which is going to be here. So here we're going to use the formula of max, y max, simply because we want to see the last person who arrived. That means the maximum number here for the test time. So here in B5, we're going to use the max. And from the same name range from to all. So here we're going to have the maximum time. Okay. So this is the first person who arrived, like the minimum number, the first person arrived, and this is the last person who arrived on the testing time. So this is why we're using here min and why we're using here max. And we can see here is going to be display the fastest is the min, the first person who arrived. Like you arrived in 9 seconds and he arrived in 10 seconds. So this is very late, and this is the first person, this is second person. Then we come to question 6, sorry. Place in cell B a formula to display the average of test time. So also here the function is very clear that we're going to use an average and for the same range. So you're going to come here and equal sign average. And we're going to put the same range. Okay, and then okay, and we can see this is the average time for the whole test time here. And now we come to a very important question here. 3 different fuel mixes are being tested. So this is an info examiner gave it to us. He said place in cell B7 a formula using the name range created in step 3 to display the average test time for the mix number 1. So that means simply here we have in cell B7 we need to do what? We need to find the average. We need to find the average for the name range, but depends on what? Depends on a number, the mix number 1, and we can see here we have mix number 1 and we have mix number 2 and we have mix number 3. So we have 3 types of mixes number. So what we're gonna do, we want to take an average for the test time with the mix number here, depends on 1. And also if he asks us later for any other mixed number, and we can see that clearly since he asked about 1 here, there are going to be another questions which is going to follow. So it's very important to understand the question. Here we want to use an average, but what type of average? Average for the time mix number 1. So here we have, this is the time mix number 1 and this is the test time. So you're going to have this one with this one. Depends on what? Depends on the mix time 1. Depends on the mix time 1. So it's very important to understand that the question he asked about an average, but not an average only, an average with a condition mix number 1. And we can see here, this is the area where you're going to make the average of it, and this is the mix time. With which condition? With the condition 1. So here is going to be the average if. Why if? Because here give me a condition for mix 1. And similar to it, we're going to come to the average mix 1 here, and you're going to use the average if. So equal sign average if, and on the average if itself, so we have a range. So where is my range which I'm going to deal with? The range which I'm going to deal with is the mixed number from here all the way, because I just want to see only number 1. So this is going to be the first one. The criteria is going to be the one itself, the mixed number 1. And here we're going to make it 1. And the second average range is going to be the test time, since I just want to see the average for this one depends on the number 1 here. So you're going to put the name, we have it, and this is exactly what criteria is going to be. So we make sure that we log this range by F4 and then OK. And we can see this is the test time for mix 1. And as I said that, since he said for the mix 1, when we come to question number 2 here, he said place in cell B8 a formula using the name range, same idea, created in step 3. Display the average test for the time mixer number 2. So here's going to be number 2, and in this time we're going to repeat it, but we're going to change the condition to 2. And the easiest one, we can come also here, we can do it with the same. So with equal sign average if, and from here, in this time the range is going to be the same range for the mixed number, and let's lock it directly. And the criteria here is set number 2. So you're going to make here the criteria 2, and the range is going to be the test time, since he said here for the name range, which we already make the test name as P time. And then OK, and we're going to see this is the average for number 2, and the question is going to be repeated also for number 3. So we can simply place in B9 a formula using the name range, same, created in step 3. We display the average of the mixed number 3. So here we need 3. So from here we're going to see only the 3 and the average of them from here. The same idea when we did with the 2, with the average from here, or for the 1 on the average from here. So we can simply just do it with the same, or I can just simply copy this one down here like this, and you're going to change here. We can change this one to 3, right? So this is the fastest one, which we can just see it this way. Or you can, if you find it a little bit difficult, we can do it practical here by equal sign average if, and repeat it with the same, no any difference is going to be. So the range is going to be the mixed number, unlock it, and the criteria is going to be 3. Why 3? Because here he said for mixed number 3. And for the average, we want the average only for 3 from the test time, which is already we call it the T time here, and we can see now we have it the same idea. And as I said, this one is going to be only for mix number 1. From mix number 1 here, I want to see only the average for them. And for the mix number 2, I want to see only the average for them. And for the mix number 3, I just want to see only the average for them. So here we can see a range and another range and a criteria. This is why we're using an average if. And we can see here the question is worth with 4 marks, and here worth 1 mark and 1 mark. I don't know why, because they have the same idea, no any difference between. But here the examiner give higher marks for this question or the first one. I think because you have to understand the question carefully in this one, then you're going to repeat it here. But here is 4 and here is 1, here is 1. Anyway, I don't know why they're making this difference. So now we're done with question 7, 8, and 9. And now we come to question 10. And in question 10, here also he gave us some info. He said tests are only accepted if there is a little or no following wind. So the test for this race depends on what? It depends is going to be accepted if there is no any kind of a wind or a little bit of wind, because the wind is going to affect on the speed of the cars. So let's go here, and this information should be linked to question 10 here directly. So as the question said, let's install F18, a replicable function, to check the wind adjustment for the test. If the value is below 2, display the word yes. If not, display the word no. So let's have a look to here where we should get the replicable formula, and here we have the wind adjustment. So we can see here we have the wind adjustment. So the information he gave it to us here, that the test is only acceptable if there is a little or no following wind. So this is the test is going to take place and going to be adjusted, depends on the wind. So if the wind here is what? If the wind is below 2, below positive 2, below 2 it means, then we should display the test yes. If no, then we're going to display the test or the word no. So that means we're going to take a look to the wind adjustment. If this one adjustment is less than the 2, so here is going to be yes. If it is more than the if it is more than the 2, sorry, if it is more than the 2, is going to be yes. If it is less, like this one, so it's going to display no. So from here we're going to see which one is greater than 2, which is going to be yes, which one is less than 2, which is going to be no. So here we're going to use simply the if function, and we can see it here. It's very clear. Depends on if, and we have 2 outcomes. And what is the condition? The condition is going to be below 2. So here, gonna come, gonna make normal if, and here we're gonna put our logical test, depends on the wind adjustment. So if this cell is what? Is below 2. Below 2 it means less than 2. So if this cell is less than 2, here we should display directly the text yes. Otherwise we're going to display the word no. So here's going to be yes, and here's going to be no. And then okay. And we can see that the test here is more than 4 and more than 4. So we can see here the test is not going to have a place, because the wind here is more than the 2, and we have too much wind, so is 4 is greater than the 2, so it's going to be no. And we can see it here. If it is below the 2, so we're going to display the text yes. So it's not below 2, it's more than the 2, and we get it here. So simply we can just replicate the function, and we're going to see that anything here is negative or less than the 2 is going to be yes, and here also less than the 2 is going to be yes, and here is equal to 2 is no. Why? because it's supposed to be less than 2. Depends on the condition here. He said below positive 2, below 2. And this is equals to 2, it's not below 2. And we can see that we have it for all the others. Now we're going to replicate this formula for all tests. So we already done. We just replicate them here, and we can see that all of them display depends on if the wind adjustment is less than 2 is going to be yes. If it is more than the 2 is going to be no. And we're done with question 10. Let's go to question 11. And please guys, always any type of information that the examiner give it, it means directly is going to be linked to these functions, which is later is going to be for your solution. So here he said, a question said, for the calculations for wind adjust test, the result will only count if the wind level is acceptable. So here we have to understand that any calculation that we're going to have it for the wind adjust here, for the wind adjust, any calculation we want to have it is going to be depends on what? The result will only count. The result is only count. Is going to be okay. It's going to be accepted. It's going to be yes. It's going to be test can be done. Only the count, it will only count if the wind level is accepted. And accepted, it means that any wind level here, when we just take a look, we can see that this is the wind adjustment and this is the wind accepted. So here we have the wind adjustment and the wind accepted. So the test is going to take a place only if what? Only if the wind level is accepted. So if it is yes here, the wind is going to be accepted. If it is no, it's not going to be accepted. So they are linked to each other. The wind adjust and the wind accept. So the wind accepted here is going to be depends on what? Depends on the wind adjustment. So any wind adjustment here is below 2, directly is going to be yes. So that means the test is going to be accepted. And this information the examiner gave it to me because directly is going to be linked to this question. And as I told you from the beginning, please read the question, understand it carefully, break it down, then after that try to answer. So he gave me this information. Let's see the link between this information and the question in 11. The question here is, as the question said, place in B12. So we're going to go to B12 here. And we're going to follow place in B12 a formula to display the average test for the mixed number. We can see here we have the average test for the mixed number 1, where the wind at an acceptable level, where the wind here should be acceptable level for this time. So here we have the mixed number and the test time and the wind level there, where I'm going to deal with them. So here I'm going to use an average ifs. An average ifs. Why average ifs? Because here we want to find the average for each test time with the wind accepted here, and it's supposed to be 1. And to do the average if, we're going to come here and click on FX, and here we can find the average ifs and OK. And in the average if, please give me a retention in this place. So here the average time is going to be the test time, which we want to test it. So from here all the way to this one. And for the criteria range, the criteria is going to be depends on what? Depends on the accepted on the accepted. If the wind here, he said if the wind level is accepted. So if the wind here is yes, so it's going to be accepted. So the range here, we should want to take it from it. If it is 1, and he is going to take for me only for the accepted, the yes, so I'm going to put the criteria range is this one. And then for the criteria itself, here is going to be for the mixed one. So I want to see from here, any test time, if it is yes, I just want to see 1 here. So here the criteria is going to be 1, and the criteria for number 2 for the second one, so we're going to go from the same here. Want to see if the wind is yes, so from here it's supposed to be yes, should give me the 1. So this is the second criteria, we're going to take it, the second if, just make it here, sorry. So the criteria here, we set 1, and the criteria range here is going to be this one, from 2, all of it. And from here, the criteria which we wanted, from this one, it should show me only yes to be accepted. So here we're going to make it yes. So we can see that this is our range which we're going to check it. This is the range which we're going to check it. And this is the place where you're going to check the criteria. This is supposed to be here, this second range, which is B80, this one, from here. I'm going to take it from here. And the criteria itself from here is going to be only 1, because here we're going to see only for the mixed one. And for the second criteria is going to be from here, the F18. I want to see only the yes. So from here, I just want to compare from here to see only 1. By comparing this to this, and to see only 1. And from here, I just want to see only yes. This is why we're using an if with average, but multiple, which is average ifs here. Then we're going to make sure that log this one, because we're going to drag it down. If you want to drag it down, so then okay. And we can see here we have, this is the average test for mix 1. So from here, from each test time, is going to compare it with the mix number 1 and give me only the 1. Not only the 1, only the 1 with yes here. So this is why we can find, we have the average from here to here, and then only if they are yes, only if they are accepted here. And this is for the mixed one, and hopefully this one is clear, which is going to be the average ifs, which is more than 1 average. So we're going to make it for average ifs. Why average is? Because we have here number 1, and we have as well number 2, and we have as well number 3. So we just want to see only for number 1. Comparing to what? Comparing with this time with the accepted from here. And from here I just want to see only yes. So from here only yes, from here only 1 with the time here. And this is the average if. Continue with the question after, which is question 12. The question 12 is repeated from this one. So here we can see that we want to place in cell B13 a formula to display an average test, the same idea. For the mix number 2, here we're going to have the second one, the mix number 2, for the wind with not acceptable or unacceptable level. So here we can simply do the same thing, but instead of 1 here, we're going to change it to 2. And to do this one, we can simply just replicate this one here and go and adjust this one just to save time. Make it 2, and then okay. We can see this is the second one. And for the question 13, which you're going to see the same idea of making a formula to display the average test for the mix 3 if the wind is accepted. So here instead of 2 they're going to be 3, so you can also just copy this one down here and go and change the number to 3 and then okay, and we can see this is the mix limited time for the average for 1, and this is for average for 2, this is average for 3. So for each mixed number we see that the wind, if it is yes, so it's going to give you these 3 numbers. And by this one we're done with the question 13. Then we're going to come to question 14 here, and question 14 is very important also, since the question contains 6 marks. It means there's going to be some kind of work in this one. So in this question we have to understand it carefully before we continue on answering. So we can see that here we want to find the best max or the best mix, depends on each fuel mix here. So you can see the 3 mix 1, 2 and 3. If it is mix 1, so the best fuel is going to be for the percentage 3.2, and if it is 2 it's going to be 3.4, and if it is 3 it's going to be 3.6. So here what I'm going to do exactly, I want to find the fastest. That means the fastest fuel is going to be used to make the best from these 3. And depends on mix number here and the fuel mix, we can see that we want to bet here the best mix depends on the fastest. And if you remember, when we're dealing with the fastest here, we said for the fastest at the beginning, here we're using the mean. So we want to find the car that is going to use the best fuel mix in percentage, so it's going to be reach for the fairest, and the others are going to be late. So here simply we're going to use the mean function with what? With the if. Why with the if? Because we want to see the best mix from the number here and the fuel that mix is going to be chosen. So you're going to use if and mean together. And simply to do this one, you're going to do it in a very simple way. We're going to use it as, since we have 3 types of mixes, that means we're going to deal with the 3 types of mixes. In what? In dealing with the minimum fuel is going to, the minimum number which is going to use or exhausted the fuel here. So you're going to come here and we're going to use a normal if from here. Inside the if itself, I'm going to deal with the mean to find the fastest. To find the fastest, we adjust. And we can see here this is the mix and this is the fuel, and this is the wind adjusted here. So here we're going to put inside the if, we're going to put the mean and open the bracket. We're going to deal with this 3 mix 1, 2 and 3 because we want to find the best one from the 3. So all of them, if this one from B12 up to B14 is what? Is equals to, and here we're going to choose, if this one is 1, we're going to choose, if it is 1, this is exactly the fuel mix is going to be 3.2. And if it is like this, what it should give me, it should give me simply, sorry, here is not going to be this one, sorry. So it's going to be the mixed one. If this 3 matches this one, so here is going to give me the outcome of 3.2. Sorry, here is supposed to be 3.2. because we want to see if these three, mix 1, mix 2, and mix 3, they are equal to the mix 1. Here we can see the mix 1 should give me directly 3.2. Then to have the second one, we're going to click here. We're going to have another if, and also we're going to have here inside the if the mean. And mean for what? We want to find the minimum from the three values here also, mix 1, mix 2, and mix 3. If they are equals to the second mix 2, which is going to be this one. If this one, if it is mix 2 here, you can see the outcome is going to be 3.4. 3.4. And here, since if it is not this one, and if it is not this one, if the mix 1 is not equal any one of these on this condition, and if it is mix 2 from this 3 not equals this one, then directly is going to be mix 3, and the mix 3 we can just directly put it here, and we can see that the mix 3 is 3.6. So you're going to make it here 3.6. And we can see simply, to understand this point, always when we're using a nested if, always is -1. And here we can see that we have mix 1, mix 2, mix 3. That means if it is not mix 1, which is 3.2, so it's going to return back to the biggest one here. And if it is not mix 2, from this 3, which is this one, so directly it's going to return back to the 3 as well. This is why we don't make the value for the last one. We just put the outcome directly. And after that, we're going to click on OK. And we can see this is exactly the result which we're going to have. So if it is, you can see here, if it is minimum than this 3 is equals to this one, so it's going to be 3.2, which is only for 1. And then we're going to have the second if here. We want to find the minimum also from this 3 if they are equals what? If they are equals this one, the second mix 2. So it's going to be what? It's going to be 3.4. If it is not this or this, directly they're going to be this one, and we can see it here directly. Here we can see that he wants each one of these to be in percentage, and here he said the full mix in percent. So we can simply make in the percentage either here or here, anywhere. So this one should be in percentage. We can just put the sign of the percentage here, but if and shift from the keyboard and number 5, and also here for shift and number 5, and here is shift and number 5. Or you can do it directly when you're just entering that one, and we can see this is exactly the best mix is going to be this one, which is 3.4, which we can see it here. So we're using the if with the mean together. Like it's a nested if. I want to find the best, okay, the fastest. The fairest car is going to arrive. If the fairest car, for example, arrive in 1.7 and another one arrive in 1.9, so this is the fastest. This is the fairest one who arrived, and this is going to be the minimum one, the late one. This is why here we're using the mean for the fairest person who arrived by using the best fuel here. Hopefully this one is clear, and you can using it simply by the nested if combined with the mean function. Now we're done with question 14. Let's come to question 15. It says format the test time to 4 decimal places and then save your spreadsheet. So this is the test time, and we want to format it to 4 decimal places, and we can see here it's already formatted to 4 decimal places, just to ensure that you can check it here, therefore, or you can go here, and for the number you can see that is formatted to 4, then okay, and no any difference, it's already formatted to 4 decimal places. And for this one, since it's supposed to appear as percentage, and if it comes to percentage, that will be fine, because here he said the full mix in percentage, but he does not ask for percentage directly, because it means we want to find the best time for the mix 1, 2, and 3 depends on the fuel in percentage. So no need for format it to percentage here. You can just leave it without any percentage for this one. You can just leave it normal. Here no need for any percentage. A very tricky question. Very tricky question here. And as you can see, for the question which recently came into 2025, I can notice that they started to go to AS level a little bit, because some questions you may find it a little bit harder to deal with it unless you have more functions like the ifs or the average if. So all these functions, we find it in the AS, we don't find it in the O level. So you take care, guys, you have to take care about it to know all the skills to deal with such exams. So now we're gonna come to the print. Let's save it first. So we save everything. Then we come to the print. We want to print out showing the formula. Make sure all. So first of all, let's go to show formula and adjust it completely to show all the formula. And we want to print it out as landscape orientation. Rows and columns heading are displayed. The contents are fully visible. So I'm going to go to File, Print. It's supposed to be here as a landscape. So we're going to make it landscape from here directly. Can make it landscape. And also the rows and column headings are displayed, some from the base setup sheet, and here we have rows and column headings. So now displayed, and the content are fully visible. We can see that the content are fully visible, all of them, and we're going to see it here. They are in 6 pages. It's not a problem, since we have the full work here, and you can see all of them. So directly you can just print it from here, and okay. Then let's go to the second type of printing. It said print out the spreadsheet showing the values. So let's first of all come here. Let's open it again. Sorry. And let's see what exactly he wants. He wants to print out within a single page and print out portrait. Here he said landscape, here he said portrait. So let's do it here, for example. File and print. And here is going to be a portrait, and he's showing the values. And if it's in a single page, so we want it only on a single page. That means I have to go here, and on the scaling you're gonna fit it in one page here like this. So it's supposed to be this way. And rows and column headings are not displayed. Don't have rows and column headings. So no. And the last one is the content are fully visible. Let's have a look here. Do we have the content fully visible? If it is not, you can go to base setup here, and you can simply adjusting the view from here to something that makes you see the content as much as you can, because this data we don't need it, we need only this data, as you can see. So all my data is here. So you can also go to base setup, you can make it more a little bit. And here we fit it into one by one, and we can see that is my data fully visible. Yes, I can see it carefully. This one we don't need it, or we can just print it in another place, or another way. We can simply just choose only this, because this data we don't need it fully. So you can only use this one, and we put it as in the page layout. We can just fit it the printing area. So only this value which you needed to examine. This is another way of printing out, and you can see it here when you print. It's fully visible, and your data here is everything. And also you can just print it from here, and we're done. So this is a file management with a web expression or web page, and I already did. Please visit my YouTube, so you're gonna find the solution for the web page. Thank you very much. This is Mr. Mohammed Marani. Hope my explanation is clear for the exam of May June 2025 paper 32 for the spreadsheet. Have a good time and see you in another video. Bye bye.